Testing, testing. All right, we live back here with another video. Hope you guys had a good day today. Topic I wanted to touch on today is not letting your foot off the gas, right? I think too many times people have their back against the wall, they grinding, they putting in the work, and they get to where they finally want to be, and then they slowly take their foot off the gas pedal. And that's the worst thing you could ever do. Why? Because you keep putting yourself into the same cycle over and over again. You're like stuck in a maze. It's like you don't like the position you're in. You work your ass off to get out of it because you were uncomfortable. And that's what's supposed to happen. If you're comfortable all the time, you'll most likely never grow. As I get older, I'm starting to realize all the cliche shit people said is actually starting to be more true than anything else. I feel like you do need to get very uncomfortable in order to grow, make decisions and take risks that you would have never made in the past. People tend to not where they are in their life. You tend to get fed up with it. You tend to get into this flow where you're working, you're grinding to achieve some sort of goal or whatever you got in mind, and then once you get it, you kind of reset to the person who you were before. You snap back like a rubber band, pretty much. That's the most dangerous thing you could ever do is not continue to grow where you're from. And getting comfortable is like it's poison. It's like the greatest killer of your potential because years from now, 10, 20 years, you'll look back and realize that you've been stuck in the same cycle. And it's not that there's a difference between being the person that never grows and you always stay down versus the person who actually knows you got it inside your DNA. You could actually be great. You got the work ethic, you got the mindset, you got the hunger, you got the ambition. You've done it before, you've gotten somewhere in your life before, and you snap back. Happens to everybody, right? You fall down, you get up. That's what life is about. But to keep doing it over and over again, especially when you realize it's happening to you, that's something that's unacceptable. I think what makes people great is the people who perform no matter how they're feeling. Once they got their goals, they make new ones. Once they hit a high, they continue going from there. They never go back to who they were before. And sometimes to stay focused, you have to make sacrifices, right? People can bring you down as well. If you had to separate yourself to lock in, you had to skip some parties, you had to skip some outings, some events, or whatever you normally do with the people in your life. If they're keeping you down, once you step away from that and you change your environment, or even if you just lock in by yourself for a little bit of time because you got to do what you have to do, right? You finally get the results, then you go back to the environment around the people. You do the things that the old you used to do. You'll find yourself right back in the same position. So you have to be careful what your environments, who you're surrounding yourself with. And you also have to be careful with your own mind because your own mind will eat you alive, right? If you let your mental turn on you, that's probably the biggest disadvantage you'll ever have if you don't believe in yourself or if you run into a brick wall real quick and you don't think you have the capabilities to be great anymore. You'll find yourself right back in the rabbit hole again. Now, the biggest problem isn't falling and getting up and grinding from the spot that you fell at. The problem is going back to the old habits, gain some progress, and then you snap back to the old habits over and over again. That's a killer cycle right there. If you had to look back 40, 50 years from now, you'll probably lose your mind when you realize that you were stuck in a cycle of getting somewhere just to end up right back in the same spot over and over. For me, a lot of it came back to like fitness. I would like get in great shape and then I would snap back to just like out of shape, and then I would get in great shape and I would snap back to out of shape. And I'm kind of like still in the cycle. I'm getting back. I've been in the gym lately, but it's a cycle that I've realized I've been stuck in for like maybe even 3, 4 years. I just go out of shape, in great shape, out of shape, in great shape, and I keep going back and forth. But I'm kind of at the point where it's like, okay, I see what's going on. Now it's time to really just lock in and just make this my life forever. As how long I could possibly go until 30s, 40s, even 50. I just want to be in great shape from here on out now. I don't feel like playing the game of going back and forth, snapping back and forth. Or even track racers, once they see they're in the lead and they look to their left, back at their opponent, they're supposed to be focusing on what's in front of them only. You're not supposed to look back. As soon as they look back and they see they got him beat, they start slowing down, and then it becomes a competitive race again because the guy might catch up because you're just naturally slowing down. It's almost like we're hardwired to do that. But keep going hard. Don't let up off the gas. Don't go back to those old habits because keeping your foot on the pedals was going to make you great. The greatest people know how to keep climbing the mountain and just keep pushing forward. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Be on the lookout for more videos in the future, and I'm out of here.